Hallo almal, welkom by nog 'n episode van die Potgooi So loop hy maar, die lewe en so. Ek is Neil nog steeds en ek is terug na 'n bietjie van 'n sabbatical. Pietie het die fort gehou intussen en ek was, maar ek het actually 'n kind gekry intussen, so dit is die rede vir my absence. Ja, exciting stuff, pretty amazing, baie nuut en confusing en stressful, maar overall dis 'n pretty surreal, out of this world experience. So ek kan dit definitief recommend. Enigiemand wat wonder of hulle wil kinders kry, of as jy 'n lewensmaat het, of 'n man of 'n vrou, ek sou sê, doen dit net. Sê vir hulle jy wil halfies op 'n baba gaan, en go for it. So worth it. Terug na die episode toe, ons praat hierdie week met Fourie, van Fourie and Associates. Hulle is slaap-Tegnikuste. Sy hou nie daarvan om slaapdeskundige genoem te word nie, 'n sleep expert. Maar ek dink dis wat hulle is. Hulle is absolute experts in wat hulle doen. En hulle gee onder andere slaapterapie vir mense. So ja, ons het gedink in hierdie lewe waar dit so fast-paced is en mense sukkel om te slaap, dat ons met so 'n tipe persoon praat, dat ons kan sê hoe belangrik slaap is en wat mens kan doen om hulp te kry. Ek dink die mense besef eintlik hoe erg het jou lewe affekteer as jy nie 'n ordentlike nagrus inkry nie. Een van die goed waaroor niemand regtig praat nie. So ons het besluit ons gaan 'n bietjie praat daaroor. So ja, hierdie is actually die tweede keer wat ons 'n episode met haar opneem. Die eerste keer het ek en sy dit by Medi-Clinic opgeneem in Milnerton, maar die episode het nie lekker uitgekom nie, want die klank was nie great geweest nie. Toe stem sy in om nog 'n episode saam met ons te doen, en hierdie keer was Pietie ook beskikbaar. So ons het die volspan terug in die Kaap, met Fourie. Enjoy. Okay.
Gaan goed.
Gaan cool man, gaan cool.
Doe zo'n intro nou, dude.
Fourie, right? That's your name?
Yes.
You are a lady of the night?
Lady of the... Oh, that is very well put.
It's actually her joke that I stole.
That is an excellent joke. I'm just going to put my phone on silent.
This is the second round we're doing with Jessica, because the first round the sound was messed up.
But we are very happy to announce that after
she cracked that joke in the first one. That's why I'm just repeating it.
This job does not bode well for my dating life, honestly.
Do you put people to sleep with your calming voice?
With my voice, and like I work at night, so people are like, geez, that's dodgy.
You've got a great sense of humor, and that keeps people... You've got an awesome way of just like pretending like you're not saying something funny, but saying something cracking. It's brilliant.
But that's probably also not good for your job, because people can't sleep when they're just giggling and laughing at your jokes.
I know, but then I switch off the jokes after a while.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I go into complete sleep mode.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Can we just say that we just want to thank our listeners for bearing with us for 37 episodes of literally basically not being able to hear us because our sound quality was so bad. Yeah. No, I'm lying. The ones in this boardroom were actually perfect. Pretty much until I started recording, it was great.
Yeah, and I think every single episode I've recorded outside of this boardroom has been atrocious.
Pretty much everything outside of this board. Is this actually a sound studio? Like this is your law firm sound studio?
I think it's the carpets and it's the drywall. Like this is not really. I don't know. It's just everything.
We're gonna get to Jessica. I was just glad to hear that it wasn't just me. So you also experienced some difficulty.
No. So this is the reason why Jessica's sitting with us today
for the second time. But so you guys are pretty much. I understand you guys can like relay or replicate your whole conversation. But I literally don't know. Neil told me he's got this idea to speak to a sleep expert, and I was like, it's obviously very appropriate in his life. They've got a...
I don't like that word, by the way, because, like, expert, I don't know, it's just...
Okay.
I'm just experienced in my field.
Do you think that puts an unfair connotation to... Or is there unfair expectations
I just don't like that word.
Okay. You just use it for lack of a better word, because we didn't know what else to call it.
Well, what's the better word? The scientific word?
I'm a sleep technician for laymen.
All right.
I mean,
for laymen. Yeah. For laymen.
Yeah, in laymen.
For men that lay.
Yeah.
But women as well.
Yeah.
Any person that lays.
If they choose so.
Okay,
but what was it? There was another word for it. A
polysomnographer.
There we go. A polysomnographer. Okay, would you just tell us what that word means again? The broken up word is quite cool.
So poly is more than 5, so it's many. Some is the Greek word for sleep, and then graph is test.
It all makes sense. Like poly.
Yeah, some not
polyester. That's not right. But some insomnia. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And, okay, I'm going to ask the layman questions because you've obviously gone through this. Can I literally start with what do you study to do that? And if you've got a firm, how does the firm work?
So we're actually our practice. So we're a practice.
Sorry, I keep on saying the wrong words. Like, okay, sorry. Okay, yes.
We specialize in pulmonology, so respiration and pulmonology. So that's all got to do with breathing in the lungs. So we have a number of people working for us. We do lung functions on people, do ICU work on ventilators and patients in the ICU. And then we've got the sleep side of things, which our main thing is breathing-related sleep disorders. And we've gone into neurology now as well. So we've branched out into neurology. So we've got a neurophysiologist that works for us. And
your practice is?
We're a clinical technology group.
All right. And where are you based?
We're based at Milnerton Medi-Clinic. We've been there for a number of years. The practice has been going for quite a few years.
Yes.
And we're all over the country. So
what's it called, the practice?
Fourie and Associates. So it does sound like a firm, but we're not.
Fourie and Associates.
And it's her surname. So she started it all.
He's fond of it.
I wish. That's my dad.
Are you serious? And okay, so it's more. It's is it like sleeping and healing? But it's not like New Age crystal healing. It's like clinical, medical.
It's completely clinical and medical. So there's no airy-fairy stuff.
Yes.
That has its place. Or
yes.
People,
Especially when it comes to sleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, but this is completely scientific and medical, technical.
But obviously the lung part, that lung illnesses or that has nothing to do with the sleep department. It's completely different things.
It's completely separate, the sleep stuff. But I mean, obviously, sleep deprivation has so many health consequences. So, in the end, everything is pretty much related.
And everything is about sleep.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing.
Yeah, it's got...
about what you do. Because if you don't get proper sleep, you can't function, you can't live your life at all.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
And I mean, the reason we chose this or thought of it, we speak to a sleep expert because so many people have trouble sleeping. Yeah,
I'm joking.
No, sorry.
I'm joking.
Sorry,
I'm also on
absolutely
the
right.
bandwagon. I'm going to start make a little banner outside here. Technician, practice. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why we thought we'd speak to a sleep expert because I think it's something that affects everyone to a certain extent, but no one really talks about it, And I don't know of people actually going out to get help. I know of a lot of people who have extreme trouble sleeping, but no one actually goes to get help.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge problem, and I think it's got a lot to do also with the day and age that we live in. People want easy fixes and all the technology and everything.
Yeah, like the blue light.
Yeah, the blue light affects the sleeping so much. And
So that's interesting. So so any light that flickers in your room has an effect on your sleep.
Well, from technology. So the blue light, basically what it does is that you have melatonin, which is a natural sleeping hormone. Mm-hmm. So as soon as the sun starts going down, your melatonin starts secreting. So your body actually starts going into relax mode. And with the blue light, that suppresses the melatonin from being secreted. So it actually stimulates your retina. So your brain gets stimulated and doesn't switch off properly and go into that sleep mode.
Secreted is just like released, eh?
Yeah, released, basically.
And is it, you say a blue light, but it can be any light, any cell phone light?
No, it's pretty much more, it's more that Yeah, that blue light
Yes.
specifically that comes off screen. So
Oh,
yeah.
I see what
I
you
know
mean.
the red
Okay.
lights and stuff off alarm clocks and things sometimes bother people.
So this is actually looking at your. Okay, so I'm
Yeah, your
misunderstood.
phone, your
Yeah.
computer, your tablet, your
I think
TV
it's
screen.
screens.
Yeah,
Specifically
Yeah.
like the screens.
Exactly.
It's like,
that's actually why you shouldn't have a
That's
TV
nice.
in your room, because
Okay, well that's quite important.
yeah.
You should never be for the same reason, I would
No,
assume.
I mean your room is like your room is for two things: sleep and sex. That's it. Yeah.
you said, I think we both were expecting that, and then just when you said it with like a parent face, it was funny. So I want to ask a lot of things like sound, whatever. How does that influence? How many hours you sleep? Blah blah. But just out of interest, your departure point last time in round 1, when the sound was so brilliant. Where did you start? Was it similar to now?
I think it was. It was basically just sort of. I asked her what actually goes on at these clinics. And
That's a
then
good question. Like, do people sleep everywhere?
yeah.
It's like people lying like, oh no, he's healing.
Is it like the Dubai airport where you just fall
People just some
over
lazy
sleeping
boys in your
people?
practice all day. It sounds brilliant. Do you actually work on a lazy boy?
I wish.
For example.
Yeah. No, I was actually telling Neil that you actually need to be booked in, because we did once have an incident. A lady came up the stairs. I don't know how she found us. She was like, I need to sleep.
She came with a blanket.
Yeah, she was like,
Imagine by 'n werkdag iemand met 'n blanket by op Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, we've been expecting you. Yeah.
I need to sleep. And I'm like, that's not how it works.
But you can forgive her for making the mistake.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, for
it's
sure,
understandable.
absolutely. No.
Yeah, it's like
I
you make
mean,
an appointment to come and sleep.
Yeah, usually I mean, it's our sleep clinic is in a business park, so it's a little bit difficult to find it sometimes. So we have to give people proper directions and everything. So I'm quite surprised that she just found her way there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what's quite?
So-
Did you then sort of go like almost like a hair appointment? Go through your diary and say,
No.
In fact, we do have an opening.
We have a do opening for a nap. It's like a 45-minute nap. Are you ready for? Are you looking for a power
In
nap?
2.5 hours, we've got an opening. Just hang around, maybe take a nap while you wait.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You take,
But that's not how it works. Obviously, you've got to have
yeah.
a formal appointment.
Yeah, it's
and
the whole process. So,
Yeah.
we have a woman that does bookings for us, and she goes through the authorization with medical aids and that kind of things, and gets the people booked in. And then there are specific appointments made for, because we only have 4 beds at the sleep clinic.
Right, you see.
So yeah,
So is it,
and they're usually full, so you can't just come and
So whereas our
have a little
working
nap.
day has ended, it's about 6 o'clock now. Her working day starts in 2 hours.
are you serious?
Mm.
Oh, so they come for actual. So they come and. Oh, so it's not like it's okay. So it's not like someone's got insomnia. They come for an hour or 2. You give them tips. They go home and they practice it. They actually come and sleep at the clinic.
Yeah.
They sleep the entire night. And what do you use? Like put all sorts of monitors on them?
So we monitor their muscle movement, leg movement and stuff. Things like restless legs and periodic limb movement syndrome. Breathing parameters, oxygen saturation levels, your pulse, your snoring, we do EEGs obviously for the sleep staging and the brain activity, and then ECGs to monitor the heart. And that
Alpha and beta waves. That's all I know.
Yeah, well, that's
That's the vibe.
yeah.
Okay, and then, so let's talk about restless legs. Isn't that something that the patient would feel when he's awake or he or she's awake?
So, some people do,
But it can be
obviously
something you experience while you sleep.
Yes, it's disturbing while they're sleeping. Often these sleep disorders are more disturbing for the bed partner than it is for the actual patient.
Because yes, unconscious.
Yeah. It's normally like snoring and noises and...
So it's usually more disturbing for the other person.
It's like snoring. You're oblivious. You're just like...
Yeah, because usually I get, obviously, or not obviously, but majority of my patients are male. So a lot of them are snorers. So the wives have sent them there because they just can't handle the snoring anymore. So they come in and then I ask them, do they snore? And they say, I've been told. I've been told.
Yes.
Hulle sê so. Ja.
Can I just... So how...
Ek weet nie, ek slaap.
But you've said something like they've been taking videos of, and
Yeah, so
the
sometimes
wife takes the
sometimes they don't even believe the clips, but then when the videos come in, then it's a whole different story. They're like, oh crap.
And what? So if they come to your clinic, let's say, then they get in bed, do you give them like a sleeping tablet or?
No, so we try to monitor them in their normal sleep state.
So if they sleep 5 hours, they sleep 5 hours. If
Yeah,
they sleep
we
8
do.
hours.
Like some people do take sleeping pills normally, so they have been on sleeping pills for years or whatever. So then, if they ask, can they still take a sleeping pill, then we say yes, obviously, because they've been taking it for a long time. So that would be within their normal sleep routine.
Yeah, and what if you see a patient and that patient can't fall asleep? Has that happened before?
It has, yes, it does. Also, often because of sleep disorders, they actually do sleep, and we get enough data, but it feels like they haven't slept, or they would say they haven't slept, but it's just because they haven't gotten into their deep sleep, their deep quality sleep. So it feels like they haven't slept at all. You know,
I know that vibe. It's like drifting off in an airplane or something or whatever, and then you wake. You're like, no, I didn't sleep, and you look, and it's like 2.5 hours later. And you're like, what could have happened?
That's exactly the feeling.
I had the most amazing experience on an airplane. It happened to me once, where literally I was sitting down. I was super tired, and then put my safety belt on, window seat, sort of lay to the side, and I fell asleep. And I woke up, and we were already on the ground.
No way.
Literally Joburg. But I could feel the plane moving, and I'm like, oh my word, I just literally slept all the way through. And
You didn't even realize.
and when I eventually sort of came to my senses, we hadn't even taken off. It felt...
That is not what I expected. I didn't expect you to say
I honestly was sat there believing, this is amazing, I just slept the entire way.
You told that story so well, because you said you woke up, but you said it in past tense. You already arrived, and then turned around the story. That's brilliant. That is an excellent... Can I ask like 7 questions? But start with the first one.
You can ask as many as you want.
Is the ultimate goal for those people... Is it usually someone that suffers from insomnia and they want to ask you, how can I sleep better? How can I improve my sleeping quality and the hours and whatever? Or is it usually someone that says I've got some, I don't know, cholesterol, some issues, physical issues, can you check what's going on? Or I'm not sure you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So generally, the patients get referred by GPs or specialists, more so specialists. So a lot of ear, nose and throat doctors, psychiatrists, physicians, sorry. Those, in that kind of line. And cardiologists. So there would be, for instance, possibly some kind of health problem with the patient. Maybe something, he's having heart problems, got hypertension. A number of things could be happening. Then the doctor asks, and then this is often the scenario with the bed partner. So, you go and see and say, I've got this problem, this is what's happening to me. And then they start questioning about the sleeping. And you say, are you sleeping properly? Do you snore? That kind of thing. And then they start picking things up.
And it's my partner actually has it. He breathes weird at night.
Or they stop breathing, or they snore really badly, and then they stop breathing.
Oh, what do you call that again?
Sleep apnea.
Yeah, sleep apnea. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
It's when you just stop breathing.
Yes, so that is our speciality.
That's scary.
Yeah, very, and very frightening for the bed partner once again.
But touch wood, but people, it's not so fatal, is it?
Long term, yeah. I mean, it's basically like this is going to sound crass, but it's like a slow way of dying. Why
do you just stop breathing by accident and then...
So what happens, and this is why predominantly it's in men, just because of their anatomical structures, and they have bigger necks or bigger chests or whatever. So when they lie down, because of gravity, it pushes against the airways. So somewhere in your airways, an obstruction occurs because of a lot of tissue, or it could be a number of things. You could,
So obesity or something.
Yeah. So weight often plays a big role.
Weight plays a fat role. Sorry, that was a shocking joke.
The klein tongetjie agter die
The
juwele.
klein tongetjie, that's the
The
scientific
klein
name.
tongetjie.
The klein tongetjie.
The epiglottis is enlarged, can be enlarged.
Oh, yes.
So that can close your throat at the back. You could also have an enlarged tongue, or
I've heard this.
your anatomic.
How does it get bigger? Your tongue.
No, maybe some people have a thicker tongue.
Yeah, bigger tongue. Also, remember when you're snoring, then you are causing a lot of tension in your airways. So some people wake up with like a thick throat after a night, or like a sore throat from that. So also your tissue swells because of all that friction in the airways. So that these are all things.
Contributing factor.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
can actually die from stopping breathing at night.
You're not specifically just going to stop breathing and not wake up. It's not specifically from that. It's the side effects.
It's the health issues that
It's
cause.
the health issues that come with the sleep apnea.
What happens?
Heart
Once you stop
problems.
breathing, then your heart freaks
Yeah,
out.
so what happens is that with that obstruction that occurs, so we have an index that we work on, which is apnea, hypopnea. Apnea is a full obstruction of your airways, and then hypopnea is a partial obstruction of the airways. Okay, so yeah, those have classifications, and then with that obstruction, it stops your oxygen from going to your brain. When your brain realizes it's not getting enough oxygen, it fills with carbon dioxide. Then it has a mechanism which triggers and sends a message to the body to wake up. I'm not getting enough oxygen. Wake up. And that's why they have that whole snoring thing, and then the obstruction happens, which is the not breathing, and then that mechanism will kick in, and they'll be like
And
that.
the partner
It's
must
quite
I can imagine you watching
'Cause-
someone do that.
Yeah, it's very frightening watching.
Have you seen it in the I suppose
a
often,
lot, yeah. But and I've seen serious cases. So people stopping breathing
It's often.
for
They specialize in sleep apnea.
for
so
like
I was-
over a minute. I mean, some people stop breathing.
But
at a
those
time.
people, would it happen to them quite often, you think?
Oh yeah. So for it to be for you to be classified as an apnea, it has to occur more than 5 times per hour.
Oh,
And-
jeepers, that's a lot.
Yeah, and the episode has to be longer than 10 seconds. Okay, so
How do you calculate the beginning of the episode? Is it when you start going?
no, when
That's the end, I would assume.
the stopping. So you'll stop snoring, you'll stop
Yes.
breathing. That's when.
So and you can track it obviously on your
Yes.
monitors. You can see.
yeah, with all
And then
the
what do
stuff.
you do if you see the 10 seconds thing start? Do you intervene or do you go?
No.
Let's wait the 10
Let
seconds.
it right out.
Like
It's a
I
dangerous
said.
game you play.
Yeah, exactly. Check it. Yeah. Making bets.
No.
I'm giving
How
a
long
format.
do you think this one's going to
Yes,
stop for?
exactly.
Have you had
okay.
the situation where it's gone on for too long and you go, oh
We need to
wow.
interfere.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
But so with that, sorry.
The body's amazing. Like, it really does. I mean, you'll breathe again. Some guys really do stop for like over a minute. Yeah, that's frightening.
And then,
What?
but would it happen to them more than once a week? That same person.
Yeah.
Oh, it happens to them like every night.
Yeah, in the beginning it could occur erratically. Once they kind of start,
Yeah.
having the symptom, or not even having the symptom. Some people aren't even symptomatic in the beginning. It's the bed partner that picks it up. So they even say that, but it creeps up on you very slowly, and all of a sudden, within weeks, you'll start being symptomatic.
What's the symptoms?
Um,
Well, you're probably chronically tired.
But yeah, usually daytime sleepiness, going to the bathroom a lot at night, waking up a lot at night, obviously,
For no apparent
for
reason.
no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Being exhausted.
Waking up with a dull headache. Then, those health issues start kicking in, things like hypertension,
What exactly is hypertension? I always hear that word.
High blood pressure.
Blood pressure.
Yeah. So what happens with that arousal when the brain says wake up? That
Yeah.
okay, the body's supposed to be resting, but then heart rate shoots up, so your heart just goes. The heart rate skyrockets. So the heart's not resting as it should. That's why people develop heart disease and that kind of thing. And the blood pressure shoots up. Blood pressure problems. Your body's under stress, so your stress hormones are released. Your cortisol levels are high, which affects your insulin levels, which can cause diabetes eventually. Your hunger and satiety hormones are out of sync, metabolic syndrome, all of that stuff. Yeah, it's quite a serious thing.
So yeah,
I'm
it's
so glad
extremely
to
serious. So that's what I learned the other day as well.
Yes, I'm so I feel so not embarrassed, but I'm so glad to hear that we're talking to sleep technician, that it's like, or when we like put it out there, caption it, also like sleep technician, they have their practice at the Medi-Clinic.
Well, exactly, yeah.
With the medical, because it's so I think the fact that
you're getting all the terms right now, huh?
Yes, I am.
Well
I'm
done.
very attentive. I'm very attentive. I think the fact that the moment that something is sort of connected to science, there's just like this credibility you feel for it, as opposed to once again, like I used to go to trance parties. I was used to whatever, all those things. So I'm not bashing any like new age, whatever, hippie, crystal. I'm not bashing any of that. I'm just, because you guys are probably doing like pioneering work, and like it's almost not so many people know about it. It's like hard to fathom, and that's probably exactly why this podcast and this like exposure is good.
Yeah.
Because now we know of these things. Because my girlfriend's a doctor, and she's spoken about this sleep apnea. I mean, I've heard about it and stuff, and I've seen. No, it's you. Did you study medicine, or how do you like? You are super good at what you do. You're so knowledgeable, or is it just?
Well,
like,
I've been doing it for almost 11 years. So
really?
yeah.
But did you just learn on job?
There are a number of routes one can follow. So you can go the clinical technology route. You get EEG technicians.
How do you do? Do you go? So normally when you go into a job, you go in what you're good at. So did you go? I'm super good at sleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to teach people.
They're like, exactly. Do you sleep well, by the way? Are you a good sleeper? Oh wow! Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
That's like
it's like I
putting
often see a meme that says, "Why do psychology students have mental issues? Just look at your notes."
Exactly. But it is. It's just like same as the mechanics of cars all the
precies,
or whatever. It's also like a joke.
It is, yeah. Like I always say that I'm a walking oxymoron. Yeah. So.
But I think I suppose you've got a very strange job in the sense that you work at night and sleep during the day.
Oh shit!
So
yes.
I mean, she's awake the entire night, monitoring people.
Yeah,
unless you crawl, you don't crawl in next to your patients and just have a little nap.
No,
that's not allowed.
That would not be conducive to the blood pressure situation.
Yeah. So, do you actually work at night and sleep in the day?
Yeah, pretty much.
And do you get like how many?
No.
I suppose having light outside definitely affects the
well, that's what you said earlier.
Yeah, your circadian rhythm is totally. So your circadian rhythm is your natural sleep-wake cycle. So you're supposed to be awake. This is how your body works.
In the day.
In the day when there's sunlight.
Yes.
And that's why you actually do feel a little bit more tired and lazy and stuff in winter, because the night is longer, the day shorter.
Okay.
You feel more energized, and because the days are longer, there's more sun and everything. It's like natural, supposed to work like that. So yeah, mine is bietjie te mekaar.
So wat kom jy by die huis in die oggend aan gewoonlik?
Wel, ek werk nou nie meer so gereeld volle nagskofte nie. So
is it skof 8 to 12 hours? 8 hours?
Yeah, so okay, so we have the sleep clinic, and then we have
the nap clinic.
So Medi-Clinic is the nap clinic.
We've got beds that we use at Milnerton Medi-Clinic, and then we've got beds that we use at Panorama Medi-Clinic.
Is it a normal bed? Oh, with all kinds of machine and EEG machines.
Wires and those kinds of.
Do you sleep quite nicely in those beds? Are they like comfy?
Can you bring your own blankie?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Can
you
you?
can bring your own pillow as well.
And
Do people do that?
Yes. they
Is the
do.
mattress like stiff, hard, or is it a soft vibe?
It's just right.
Also, can you like come
Just like
if
for
you don't have
Goldilocks.
problems? Can you just have like come and have a nap to like get all your things tested and see if you're sharp?
Oh my god.
You must
Werk het so.
Senige, just out of personal interest, en ons het letterlik, ek het jou nou letterlik ontmoet, pretty much by the podcast. Where do you come from? Soos waar was jy op skool? Waar?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Sorry, this is a bit of a, just good.
No,
Definitely,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Cape Town, obviously.
Yes, I
Right.
was born and bred in Cape Town. My mother's family, her side of the family comes from Bloemfontein. So,
Bloemfontein.
klomp Vrystaatse mense.
Yes.
So ek het bietjie baie Vrystaatse
Nee,
bloed.
goeie Afrikaans toch wel.
Ja. En my pa is van Pretoria af. So
Fourie.
And he's your
Yeah,
dad is
yeah.
the brains behind this. And
Something like
Fourie
that.
and Associates are pretty much the pioneers in South Africa, definitely. I did my own research.
yeah, I'm not gonna
lots of
blow
research.
smoke.
No, I know. One
No,
doesn't
we-
like to toot one's own
No,
horn.
I love it.
But,
I just play like tooting solos. No, I'm joking.
No, but it is.
No,
I mean,
for sure, yeah,
it's
absolutely.
by far the biggest outfit
Yeah.
that's out
And I
there.
really
Outfit,
don't
oh,
give
yeah,
myself any credit in that regard because I am really just a little worker bee in the practice.
But it's brilliant.
Uh,
Yeah, but you seem to be the most important one because you are the one that works evening,
Yeah,
That-
they.
right?
Yeah,
and
they
your
are.
dad works during the day.
Yes,
Mm.
and all my
Consultant- the
colleagues,
consultant
all my
level.
colleagues, and they, I think they appreciate me very much.
I can
because,
imagine.
How many
Yeah.
people work at Fourie and Associates?
It's about, I think about 8 to 10 of us.
And it's Fourie and
Yeah.
Associates like sleep technicians or something like that.
Yeah, sleep technicians,
This is
clinical
a whole new world
technologists,
opening up for me.
neurophysiologists.
But where it gets really interesting
It's
is
sleepwalking. No. We're going to talk
Yeah,
about that.
we can talk about that as well,
yeah,
definitely.
And dreaming.
But what happens? Yeah, and dreaming. Yeah. But what happens when I come into your clinic? I then go to bed. Your
Oh, you make
practice.
a booking, yes, you've got to.
sorry,
You've
I
got a
thought that's what you
pre-booking.
were. Yeah. Well, sorry. Yeah. I
You've
phone your secretary before I make a pre-booking.
Yes.
What time do I arrive?
What time do you arrive? Usually between 7:45 and 8:15.
Okay, I'm gonna go to bed at 11. So
That's fine. You get time. A lot of people love because there's no TV or anything.
Yes.
Obviously, that's not.
You
gonna
take a
be,
phone in,
You can take a
do
phone.
some blue screen vibes.
Yeah,
Okay.
cheap is amazing.
Yes.
Some people.
do you advise against it? Obviously.
Usually while I'm consulting with the patient, like when I'm setting and setting them up and stuff, then I start talking to them a lot about their habits and things that they
Yes.
do and what's happening, how they're experiencing their sleep, why they're here, etc., etc. I mean, I had a guy once who was saying like he's having trouble sleeping and everything, but then there's a 2-liter Coke standing next to his bed.
Oh my
And I'm
gosh.
like, well, tip number 1, this could help you a lot.
Let's not get that.
Cut
much
out
sugar.
the sugar and the caffeine.
I'll put some brandy with it. Yes.
Exactly.
Oh,
More brandy than Coke.
Alcohol probably destroys your sleep, eh?
So initially, obviously, people pass out nicely after having a few tooths,
Yes.
but it does mess with your sleep-wake cycle.
Yeah, because we spoke about this
Dehydrates, yeah.
last time as well.
Yeah.
When you drink, you almost never have a good sleep.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, yes, you pass out quickly,
Exactly.
but then it gets funky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially when
And
you
then
wake up at like 5 o'clock and you have to go back to bed after that initial drogies.
Yes,
So you're drinking lots of
How
water.
weird is
Then
that?
going to bed, then that's impossible.
Yeah, and
I
then
mean,
you're drinking all of the water. I mean, there's
Yes.
like,
It's horrible, and then you've got that anxiety. You just things get weird.
yeah, and
That's
and
a
then you go to the
shocker.
toilet a million times a night.
Yeah, no, that's a
Yeah.
shocker. It's a disaster.
Yeah.
So okay, but so your dad's coming from what background? Does he?
Yeah, he's a clinical technologist.
Did he come? Did he create this? But he wasn't like a doctor or something.
In partnership, yeah. So initially with doctors, with a pulmonologist.
What was that word?
A pulmonologist, so he's a lung specialist, basically. Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah.
Pulmonoloog.
Pulmonolog.
Pulmonolog.
Yeah.
Dis is daai woord wat jy gehad het met die longsiekte wat so die langste woord in Engels taal is.
Yeah.
Sien ek het geluister. So, but okay, so you went to school in Cape Town, born and bred.
I grew up in Cape Town, went to Stellenbosch then after that. And I've done so much since after varsity and studied so much different stuff. And
you ended up in the family business.
Yeah.
Do you stay in Cape Town?
I do, yeah. I stay in Milnerton.
Can we just quickly, are you ready to dip into either dreaming or sleepwalking?
Well, the one thing I wanted to check first or chat about is so I'm at your clinic now, and I'll get into that bed and I fall into a deep sleep, and then it turns out I've got sleeping issues. What do you do?
Okay, so obviously we have to analyze the data that we've gotten. So depending on what we find, we will either give a recommendation. So usually we get a referral from a doctor or specialist. So we send our reports through or back to them, and we'll give a recommendation. We can't diagnose because we're not doctors. So we give a whole full report. This is what our findings are. Give a recommendation and then send the stuff through. And then either we'll say, this person has sleep apnea. We strongly recommend that they go onto a CPAP machine. The CPAP machine is stands for continuous positive air pressure. So it's a machine that blows pressurized air into your airways to splint your airways open, to open that obstruction that's forming at the moment, so that your oxygen can flow through freely. Your brain then gets enough oxygen and allows your body to rest completely and get into
to do that every night.
Is that the Darth Vader mask?
The Darth Vader.
Oh, so then people should do the Darth Vader vibe.
Well, it's like a Darth Vader mask.
Yeah.
Like you sleep up.
Yeah.
And
Every
it just
night.
sounds extremely uncomfortable.
And it does sound kind of disturbing in a way,
Yes,
like
it does,
scary,
yeah.
claustrophobic.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know what's worse. Like somebody...
Yes, wearing a mask or dying.
Or sounds like they're having an exorcism anyway because of all the noises that I
Might as well rather
Does that
Yeah.
can the sleep noises become like a...
It's
Like-
horrifying, I promise you. Like, it's,
Really?
yeah,
Like
it's
that?
literally- yeah.
So,
And the snoring it's demonic. I promise you.
the
It's,
exorcism. This is exorcism.
it's crazy.
This is nightly
You
Every
won't-
night's a
exorcism.
different exercise.
You
Yes.
will not believe it until you've actually.
And
heard
what?
it.
And have you ever stood at work and then observed one of this and thinking, this may be the portal to hell, or
I actually have a very close friend that is probably the worst case I've ever heard in my life.
really?
Yeah, and it's a female.
Is she a patient of yours?
I've tried to get her to use the machine.
Have you recorded her?
I have, but it wasn't such a bad episode that I recorded.
Really?
I need to.
But is it
I
normally
think we
after
should
a few
maybe I
tooths that
should-
she's like that?
No.
I
or-
think I should maybe
No.
just YouTube sleep apnea, wake
Yeah,
up and we play the sound over the microphone.
Yeah.
Might be a bit disturbing though, but so after the findings, the data has come out, you've given your recommendation. Does the patient or the client go back to that specialist doctor so that the doctor can tell him or her, this is what you need to
They
do. This is
can
what's
do
going on.
either that or with the sleep apnea, if they come for the first test, then they need to come back for a second one to sleep on the machine, so that we can test their pressures, the pressures on the machine, because the machine, there's a certain pressure that the air has to blow, and to see if to monitor the oxygen saturation levels again.
Okay, I've got a clip of the noise.
So the doctor will deliver make the diagnosis / give them advice what to do.
Yeah.
Yes,
See
the
what
clip
it
from
is.
sleep apnea.
Well, from the snoring. See what it sounds
Let's
like.
give it a whirl. Snoring sounds.
Does that sound familiar?
That's the stopping breathing. Do
So
you,
this person,
do you see how long it lasts for?
yeah.
It's not
Okay,
sleep
yeah,
apnea, but that's just snoring. It just said snoring sounds like these.
Scary
That's-
me.
No, but that's like mild.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
chill.
Is that okay? Oh,
Yeah.
So if people at home experience that, don't worry. That's if your partner does that, then it's fine. Don't worry too much. We're talking about if your partner if it sounds like they're auditioning for a horror movie role.
There's too many videos are too long.
But you just okay. I'm actually very curious now.
But what I'll do is I'll stop the podcast now.
Yes.
Play the sound.
I can actually
Send something.
Can you
Yeah.
just? Or
Yes.
Can you?
Yes. Okay. So let's
Alright.
do it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
It
Now.
starts now.
Oh, we're back.
We're back. Thank you for that. That was scary.
You guys actually heard that now. We haven't heard it.
That was extremely scary.
That's
though,
right.
in hindsight.
Listen. Listen. Can you experience fear in hindsight? In hindsight. Yeah.
That's
what
not something that you do. Can you experience fear in hindsight?
No.
Is that fall outside of the...
Listen. Okay. So.
Okay, well, we still want to chat about sleepwalking. But you said you've never actually had a case of sleepwalking.
Yeah, it's strangely enough not in
Maybe because they're on the
Yeah.
the 11 years.
Or maybe because people don't actually see it as a problem. You just go wandering around,
have snacks.
stab someone,
Oh yeah.
have a snack.
Yeah, I haven't experienced it, but sleepwalking. It's not such a common thing. It's there's a number of things that could be the reason.
Sleepwalking is such a weird vibe. It's obviously scary on because are you actually conscious or not? Like, are you aware of what you're doing?
You're not. So
You're not.
So the next day, usually they can't remember at all what.
But
what
do you
they
think it's
did.
like almost like a hypnosis? Like, I know if you're hypnotized, you won't touch wood for everyone or whatever, but it's not like you would act out of your moral compass. Like, you wouldn't, I don't think you'll take a knife and stab someone in hypnosis. You'll know you won't.
Yeah, the thing is, unfortunately, people do. The reality is distorted, obviously.
Oh,
So
dreams.
for instance, they would urinate like in a cupboard because
Sorry.
they think it's the toilet or something.
That just sounds very free.
I
would
don't think
urinate
it's
in a
gonna be
cupboard.
so freeing for your wife.
No, probably not.
Or your
I've urinated. I was
husband.
once,
Okay.
no, I was just once. I think I was so inebriated once. I think in university or some stage, and I just couldn't make a toilet. I just went. You know, there's that moment. Is this a bit gross?
No, not at all. I've secreted
think-
it
I
as
think
well.
I just like.
Yeah.
I actually can't
I
keep
feel
it.
like it
anymore.
happens more to men though. I don't know if that's a thing.
Maybe I just.
Yeah.
But there was a moment where I was like,
I'm sure
okay, I'm
like
not gonna.
every male varsity student has
had a wee in bed or on the
yeah,
carpet
or something
in
like that, or in a
cup.
cupboard, or
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we should edit out
Yeah.
that part.
No.
Probably. No, that's the good stuff. I'm joking.
Okay, but that's not really too bad for a sleepwalking person.
so.
That I can deal with.
Okay, so
That sort
Oh,
of
with
free
the colour.
urinating.
so for a worse scenario would be they thinking they can fly or that they're Superman or something, and they jump out a window.
Oh,
Yeah,
but they won't get violent. There.
people can. Yeah,
Oh, God.
unfortunately.
Well, I'm never staying in a 2-story house ever. So I can see myself doing that.
Getting, how amazing are
I've-
flying dreams, though.
And I've flown many a time in my dream.
They're brilliant.
Many times.
I know,
Brilliant.
I do love it. Yeah,
It is
it's
enjoyable.
amazing.
It's almost
I do.
worth jumping on the balcony just for the
Maybe-
possibility that you can actually,
Precisely.
because
Yeah.
there's
It's-
a definite possibility. I mean, there's a definite an hour after you've
Yes.
woken up. There's definitely a high chance that you can fly in that hour. And then like, no.
It's a
Listen, yeah,
small
it's gonna
chance,
be a
but it's
rude
not
awakening.
0.
I'm pretty sure that I've actually done that. I remember when I was primary school or high school, I was like, I woke up and I wasn't convinced. I knew it. I knew I could fly and I knew exactly how. And I was like running up and down the corridor before I was like, and for some reason I still don't know why.
Before you got airborne.
Yeah, I'm still not sure.
No, because I think I'm in my mind quite a lot. So I can convince myself that convince myself that I'm sick. You know, your mind's pretty strong.
Yeah, it's massive.
I stayed in a flat in Sea Point. You've been there before.
Yes.
On the 9th
Oh, gosh, that
floor,
was so high.
it was
Oh, goodness.
extremely high, and we had 2 balconies.
It was a
If you-
very, very, very high 9th floor.
It's a high 9th floor, yeah. So for many reasons, but
That's a very good point.
but
That's
so
a very good point. Very, very, very interesting.
So, if you had told me now what you've told me, and I was still staying there, I probably would have moved out. Or I would have locked my door.
Yeah, I would lock your door.
Locked my door, closed my window. But I mean, window doesn't stop you.
No.
I would have to board up the room.
But listen,
That is actually legitimately
but
scary.
people
for
don't
me
have
now.
to worry. Like you're not gonna act out of your character. I'm not gonna like. If let's say if people
What are
sleep-
the other people's characters flying?
No. Sorry,
It's in my character to fly.
Yes. No, what I mean is like, let's say I've got a screwdriver under in the freaking lie next to my bed, or someone sleeps with a baseball bat behind it because they feel safe. It's not like they're going to hit their partner or themselves, stab themselves in the heart because they think it's they don't have to freak out about that now because my brain is super.
I'm freaking out about that.
Look, yeah, like people, I mean, it happens.
Let's stop this podcast right
Yeah,
now.
okay.
Thanks for that comfort. No, I'm joking. Yeah, go on.
It does happen with people that have PTSD and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Quick
like,
reactions.
So take the knife or the baseball bat out of your drawer.
well, you know, I haven't heard, but I've heard like you hitting your partner or like, you know.
But that's why you never wake a sleeping person.
Yeah,
right?
so you've really like if they're sleepwalking, you've gently, because they can get violent when you wake them up, or you know it's very alarming for them. So you've just got to gently guide them back to
Just take a
bed.
dog
Because
turn around.
that would be
Kind of freaking out.
that would be triggering your PTSD, because I know that's quite a thing with people who actually have
Absolutely,
PTSD,
definitely.
like soldiers with loud noises.
Yeah.
They would
Yes.
stand up and
Yeah.
then just open fire, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put.
So if you find a sleeping person, cheer them on when they're peeing. Don't tell them to stop.
Yeah.
And
But you're not basically telling me we're all going to be violent when we sleep if we haven't had that,
Not
just because.
necessarily,
Oh
no.
my gosh! Not necessarily. Still not getting the comfort I was looking for. But anyways, let's move on.
Sort out your issues, people.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. No, I sleep quite
What-
peacefully.
What it comes down
Yeah.
to.
And like dreaming is a whack job.
yeah, but dreaming, you said that's more
Yeah,
sort of the
that's-
airy fairy stuff.
I mean, it's
You
not.
can't
I
monitor
mean,
dreams.
yeah, no. Maybe we can.
But there is something like alpha and beta waves where you, or like some deep sleep where
Yeah,
you
you
dream
can-
more
yeah,
and whatever.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we don't do the whole dream thing. I mean, there are people that specialize in dream analyzing and
I'm a dream catcher technician, personally.
But that won't be. But that won't be an actual medical science.
no, that's more
crystal ball.
Yeah,
Which is
No.
obviously also a very, very acclaimed
Absolutely,
medical field.
Yeah.
for
Crystal
sure.
ball.
Yeah,
Crystal body.
Crystal body thing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
dream catching and stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
I've actually
Have you had inquiries before from patients that say, listen, I've got these whack dreams.
Yeah.
What can you do about it?
Yeah, then I say I've got a number of a good psychiatrist and a number of psychologists. I can-
That specialize in that sort of
yeah, I can send you there. Oh,
Do you
Yes.
think that the level of your the content of your dreams are correlated to your sanity as a in your waking state? If you have insane dreams, should you probably be worried about your actual life?
no,
'Cause I dream some funky shit.
yeah, I think everybody does. No, I don't think it's got to
Okay.
do with your with your sanity. I do think there is a place for dreams, and I do think they have meaning and things. But that's a whole other
That's a different
field.
psychological issue.
Yeah.
But I mean, has your patients, some of them struggled with nightmares and say that interrupts their sleep?
Well, some of them have said they do. They haven't specifically when they've come to the sleep clinic, but they have mentioned that they do suffer from nightmares. It's not that predominant in adults. It's more it's more with children. And once
Night
again,
terrors. Apparently night terrors.
Yeah.
Like you get nightmares and then you get night. Sorry to interrupt, but you
Yeah,
get off.
the night terrors.
Because nightmares,
Yeah.
night terrors all means
Yeah.
it's just that's like also a demonic vibe.
that's also there's an underlying issue there. It can also once be because by sleep deprivation, some medication has those kinds of side effects. Also, stress and anxiety. All of these are.
What's your opinion about sleeping pills in general?
Nice question.
I think, in my opinion, it has its place, but I don't think long
It's
term.
places in this world. No, I'm joking.
Long term. So
Yes.
I like that answer. So it
a
makes
bridging-
sense. Yeah, it makes sense when you've got serious difficulties.
yeah,
but
it definitely has its place. So I think if you wanting to get into like a sleep routine,
Yes, it helps.
taking a sleeping tablet for like 2 weeks so that your body can just get in a rhythm of getting into sleeping properly. Yeah.
this is what I want to get to, is what you spoke about last time, which I thought was fascinating, is your sleep routine and what you should do to actually have a good night's sleep.
Yes.
Which is very... Can you
Practical
take it,
advice.
Yeah, exactly. Practical advice. Can you take us through that?
No, take some notes, guys.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is not what we do.
Wherever you are driving your cars, take notes.
Pull over.
No,
take
you
no.
can do it while you're driving.
You can
People
mental
are pretty...
notes.
Mental notes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mental notes.
Or just
Text
write
and
it down as
drive.
well.
Just
Okay,
write it
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Voice notes.
Yes. Yeah, voice note
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Or actually, do you know what's pretty cool to think? I'd listen to a podcast before I take a nap on a Saturday or just fall asleep, and then people are going to probably listen to this while they fall asleep. That's pretty
Wow.
meta shit. So take them through what's nice
So
you.
when do you need to start winding down?
and how.
Depending on what your sleep time is, I would say aim for getting to bed 9-10ish.
Well, let's take a step back. How many hours of sleep do you need? I know that's also quite subjective.
Yeah, that is very subjective. So,
Yeah.
but usually between 6 and 9 hours.
Okay.
I don't think.
Sounds like a fair.
Yeah.
Somewhere between 3 and 12. that sounds like you're covering your bases there. And I was going to attack you. Between 6 and 9. I think that we can really protest that information. Yeah.
Okay, so 10 to 12 hours is a bit much. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so between 9 and 10.
Yeah, I would say, some people like to go to bed a little bit earlier, some
Yes.
a little bit later, so it depends. But, between 9 and 11, once again.
No, once again, edging.
Yeah.
Just keeping it nice and open. Yes.
Keep it nice and broad.
Yeah, you're going to be
And that
and
one-
then I would recommend closing your eyes when you're trying to sleep. Yeah.
Or close all the way.
yeah, exactly. Sort of
For the first
maybe
hour,
trying
just
lying
Yes.
down.
horizontally.
You've got to lie down, right? Preferably.
Yes, or, some people can do it.
Apparently people can stand and sleep.
Yeah.
Really, but don't stand.
Not
I've stood it.
necessarily.
I've sat down and sleep in class many a time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So
for
sort of
sure.
with my eyes open.
I
Ja,
know.
weet jy net so graag daai actually gaan slaap as
Yeah.
Kan ek goed sê.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so
then
between
what are you doing?
interrupting you constantly.
Yes. But you're taking a little book to klap a bit of a read?
Oh, yeah, with yellow light, though. So,
Okay, so bed light.
so bed
Bed
light,
As opposed to
blue light.
Okay.
Remember we spoke about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, don't have to get all reprimanding.
All teachery.
Teachery. I am told you I'm taking notes already.
Yeah.
We've
There's a
spoken
blackboard.
about this.
It's all on the blackboard.
Yes. So but who would anyway read with blue light though? So you can.
Well,
I've done it once or twice
Yeah,
where I put my
somebody-
torch on my phone.
Use your phone,
Klap
yeah.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe your partner is sleeping and the lights are off.
Or
Exactly.
some people read on their phone or on their
Oh,
tablet.
of course.
Yeah.
Kindle, that's yellow.
Kindle's yellow.
Yeah, I
I
think
wonder if
I
they
think
thought about that.
Kindle's got a yellow light.
Yes, it
I
does,
think you
yeah.
can put your tablet or your eye, or they have an app that puts the blue light off or something like that. Or
Okay.
setting, yeah.
Okay.
So, but I would still maybe just put the technology away.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
a good old book, or the newspaper. Oh, maybe don't read the newspaper, because
the
it's too.
book. If
Yeah,
you listen
book
to
with-
stuff, like you listen to a
Yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
that's nice.
Yes, absolutely. Listen to stuff.
So it's got a lot to do with your eyes and your eyes resting over
Yeah,
it.
for sure. Then the room must be dark
Yes,
because
okay.
you're not wanting to let any kind of light in.
Yes.
And if you need to sleep with earplugs, because you're a light sleeper, then sleep with earplugs. Anything to make you get a little bit more quality sleep,
So you do sleep deeper without noise, pollution, or
sounds
whatever.
and stuff. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Even those eye patch things
They work.
that. Yeah, it blocks
All
any
the
kind
light
of
from
light.
the side, yeah.
yeah.
Just thinking of, like,
And you've also said what's important is clean bedding.
Yeah, clean bedding. So
Yeah.
and no cats and dogs, unfortunately. I mean, I'm a big animal lover.
yes.
But-
Our dogs sleep on our bed.
Yeah. So
I sleep beautifully though, so I'm
okay.
obviously sleep talented. In touch
But
with.
dogs, I think are a little bit different to cats. Dogs tend to just sleep, or don't they? Cats are like
Oh, because they're
Mischievous.
krivelrig, is that why?
Yeah, I mean, and you really like, the. Okay, yeah,
you want
cats.
some more?
Yes, please. Cats take up the whole bed. So
Cats.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
they
As
that-
sleep
opposed to
with-
dogs.
Yeah, they're assholes.
they are. I mean,
Your
they,
cats
like
are, cats are one cat. Yeah.
in the
Cats
end
are
of,
dickheads.
you wake up and all your blankets are gone and you're lying on the edge of your bed. That's not a
Yeah.
good way to sleep.
And you don't want to.
I understand.
You don't. Oh, God forbid we disturb the
You
animals.
you
please.
can't
Yeah.
touch that
I
animal.
I'll
understand. So-
rather sleep badly than disturb the
I
animals.
understand the
sleep.
dog would kind of like mold itself to fit your vibe, but the cat would be the hero of the vibe.
There's still
Yes.
things like allergens and things that could disturb
That is
the
true.
sleep and that kind of thing. You should start switching off from any kind of technology. Just start relaxing about 2 to 3 hours before.
Holy shit,
Bedtime.
that's
It's a
time.
long time,
Yeah.
before you actually
But
go
relaxing as in
Just
Does the first
reading a
hour
book,
can
listening
you-
to some music, but no technology though.
3 hours
People
before,
need
so you
to
can't
start-
watch TV 3 hours before you fall asleep. I mean,
What?
you can, but we're talking about the optimal sleeping
Yeah,
journey.
yeah. I was telling Neil this the last time as well, is that, sleep is like nutrition
It's guidelines.
and exercise. And, if you're not willing to put in the work, then it's not an overnight thing that you're going to sleep like a dream, excuse the pun. But, habits take 21 days to form. It takes 63 days to cement. So you have to put in the work. It's like anything in life. Once again, I say the day and age that we're living in, people aren't willing to they give up after, oh no, this is not working for me. Like,
So it's 7 now.
put in the
I want
work,
to go to
push
bed
through
at
it.
9. Guys, should we start? Like, I don't know what you guys are like. You can still talk. In 3 hours.
We can still talk about.
That's also a
Yeah,
poor way of relaxing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, just to avoid the
Obviously,
laptop screen. Don't look at the laptop screen.
You also don't want to be having big fights and things, like domestics, before you
Can
go
your
to sleep.
whole day be one long preparation for your night's sleep? Like,
Well,
it
that's-
starts at
should be.
7 in
Well,
the morning.
how important is your sleep to you? That's the question.
It is pretty important.
Yeah.
Sleep, you're right. It's like we take sleep for granted.
Absolutely.
It's like, I know if I don't exercise, I get restless. I often get restless, So
That's the thing.
and
Yeah.
I know that, but you have to actually go to a gym or go put tackies on and go for a run. So you kind of know exercise is linked to effort, but sleeping is so natural and you need it, even probably more than exercise.
Absolutely.
But you don't have to put in
yeah.
work. It just happens. So therefore, you don't actually ever associate it with effort. But if you want quality, you must
For sure.
freaking
And
do your
actually,
part.
it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Also, caffeine,
How long before you
Yeah,
go to bed
caffeine
should
is-
you
it-
stop
caffeine is
drinking
interesting.
coffee?
it depends on how caffeine affects you.
Yes. 4 hours before you go to bed?
Yeah, I would say. Obviously, it's not great. And people say, oh, caffeine doesn't affect me, but then you don't sleep properly during the night. It's like alcohol. Yeah, but it helps me sleep. No, it doesn't. It affects your sleep wake
Helps you
cycle.
pass out.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, maybe you can fall asleep drinking a cup of espresso before bedtime, but it's...
A lot
but
of people can do that. A lot of people can
They
do
can,
that.
but
yeah.
I can almost guarantee you that it's also going to mess with your sleep
And
wake
you won't
cycle.
know about
Just
it.
tell
Yeah.
you, I don't know if
Yeah.
you've done this before. The other day, I woke up. I'm not sure if it was the dogs or something, but I was awake by I'm not sure, 5 or 6. Earlier than I planned on waking up. I think I was planning on waking up around 7 or something. And then I remember I was like, okay, but I'm awake now. And then I went to make me a coffee. and I drank the coffee, and then I was like, okay, I was drinking the coffee like sitting in bed or something, and then after the coffee, I was just like, I just put my head down for a while, and then I fell asleep, and then I woke up feeling the most crazy like anxiety, palpitations. It was like, I think I was probably suffering apnea or something, but anyway, so it's not I personally I won't drink a coffee before bed because it's an interesting marriage that you put together. Caffeine and a nap.
I mean, obviously, liquids also, you're going to get up and go to the bathroom.
Yes, I've got a problem. I drink so much water in the evening.
Same,
I fucking love it. It's just so brush your teeth and drink water.
Drink water. Have a wee in the cupboard.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful routine. I do it every night.
What is your opinion about sleeping hats?
Sleeping hats?
Yes. Like the sleeping hat. That.
So Neil's showing like almost like a missy, but it's almost like a long Tinkerbell's for Kerstfees missy with a long tail.
You know why I asked that? Because I always see, I think it was Scrooge McDuck that always slept with that. And I could never understand why the hat. I mean, a nice pair of sleeping, pajamas, or that makes sense to me, but I could never grasp the hat. Is that like a thing?
If
do your patients wear hats in their bed?
They wear little like mesh bandanas that I put on to keep the electrodes in place. Yeah, it's amazing. It's like their little like mesh buffs.
What do they wear? So do you give them pajamas?
No, they bring their own pajamas. Yeah.
What is your opinion on pajamas? I often sleep in my clothes. Like I've always done it. My girlfriend was like, just take off your jeans, then put on a soft. She wants to get me to.
You sleep in your clothes.
I've always done that.
Like with jeans.
Very most evenings I'll sleep in my clothes.
No man.
No, I'm serious.
I for real.
Yes, I've always been like that. I don't know why. I think.
Is it because you've had too much to drink?
No. Well, I used to.
He doesn't drink at all.
I used to drink a lot, and then I used to sleep in my clothes. But I've always the times that I haven't drank are also off. I think
you take your shoes off.
Yes, I take my shoes off, but I'd say more often than not. No, it depends. But I'll often sleep in not joking. I'll very often sleep in a button shirt.
Really?
Very often. So I know it's not good. I'm not trying to convince anyone. I'm just saying.
No, but that is interesting because I can't even imagine like a shirt that you're wearing now.
Yes.
Falling asleep in that because everything would irritate.
No, I know. I'm just. I think it's because. Can you indulge me for 1 second? You can just indulge me for 1 second. There's no part of me that's trying to convince anyone to do this. I'm not like an ambassador for this cause. I'm literally just saying. Is there? Do you need to be sleeping pajamas? Is that more comfortable? Because I think when I was younger, I'm the youngest kid, and I always wanted to be part of the energy and the vibe. And all the kids used to still be awake and stuff. And I think I'd fall asleep when they were still up, whatever I was wearing. And I used to associate, if I keep my clothes on, I'm still part of life.
It's FOMO. I get that.
You know what I mean? And so now when I still have my clothes on, I'm still like, I feel like, no, I'm still part of the day. I'm just having a quick, so it's so comforting for me. Like I'm still in the
I do
life.
get that.
And I just like wake up and I'm like, oh shit, I must not iron everything.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
I do get that.
I must say, I wasn't expecting a coherent answer.
Do you know what I mean? I think it is that because I don't feel like I'm ejecting.
Yes. You actually don't want this day to end.
Yes, it's like exactly ejecting. Putting on pajamas is like we're really shutting down now.
Yeah,
it's almost.
I can completely relate. Actually, I can. Yes, I can.
Let's talk more about this awesome sleeping bandana thing that you got going.
I feel like we've covered a lot of serious proper material. Let's
move on to the casual stuff. So is it medical or is it fashion or
bandanas?
Do you take pictures of your patients?
I feel like it can be both, and I get requested to take pictures. So
really? I can imagine.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
All the time. I'm like, latest profile pic? Yes, please, and let's go. Yeah.
Why do people
at the sleep clinic tonight, you like taking a selfie?
Yeah. I'm like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime bucket list ticked. Let's take a photo and profile pic it.
That is quite interesting. 2 things. Firstly, I was at a festival once. I won't mention the name, but I was at a festival with you once. I was probably flying in my mind, and then I realized just partying and just being usual. I remember someone telling me, and she's a very cool person, It was just very odd. I'm just gonna. Someone told me that. No, I just mouthed to Neil who it was, but she's a very cool person. But I think that person was also like. It was a few drinks later, and they were like, "Let's go around to people's tents, open up the tents, and watch them sleep."
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah,
and I was quite confused by that.
yeah. I mean, I suppose that's what you do for a living.
Yes, you
No,
get paid to do that. I suppose it's a very honourable thing, actually.
No, I mean when
Watch them sleep.
when people meet me and they find out what I do, obviously like it's a big hoo-ha. Great conversation starter.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And therapy session apparently.
People obviously going to tell you then everything about them. They're like, "Oh, listen, Jessica, you know how you're like, I didn't
This is
tell
how
you
I
to
sleep."
last-"
Yeah, and my my partner does this and this and this. I mean, like, what do you think's going on there? And when I was a child,
Shane, they just want to relate.
When I was
and they
a
want
child.
But it's almost like when people tell them, I do I'm a psychologist, they probably want to go, can I tell you about my problems? And it's like,
That what happened?
I really do feel like I'm one sometimes. Like I'm a psychologist, psychiatrist, pastor, like everything all in one.
But as people ask you to watch them sleep, or have they suggested that you may watch them sleep?
No, so there's obviously like you guys are like, so what do you do? Do you sit there and watch people sleep?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yes, with a,
That is
with a
exactly what we do.
clipboard and
With the
like
clipboard.
and,
do people ever...
and then they're like, I don't think I could sleep if someone's sitting there
I was about
watching
to say,
me.
if you have a friend
No, but I
over,
really don't do that though.
I wonder if you have a friend or person over and they sleep like in the vicinity of you, if they feel like, oh, shit, are you going to like analyze
Yeah, they
me?
do. All my friends are the next day, then I'm like,
you joking
by
around?
the way, I think you have this and this and this. I'm serious.
Are you
This has
serious?
happened, yeah.
Yeah.
So I told you this one friend of mine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm doing a test on you, done.
But did you wake up in the evening when you heard everything going down?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I'm tuned in now to all
Yeah, I
of
can
this
imagine.
stuff. So there's a sleep disorder called cataphrenia, which basically it's a moaning and groaning. It sounds like you're having the basics of your life, basically. And
Every time you say something about sex, you get so pan-faced. It's such a... it's very funny, yeah?
and we went away with one of my a group of our varsity friends, like it was 2 or 3 years ago. And I woke up the next morning and I said to her, I think you may have cataphrenia. So she's like, what's that? So I explained to her, she's like, what? Are you joking? So I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. Like I can record you. She's like, no. And then they're like, I'm never sleeping by you again. Jess analyzes our sleep. Everything, yeah.
Because what I was expecting that story to go is her to tell you, no, I don't. I had a guy in here.
That's
what I was expecting.
Unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
What did you study?
Retrievers. Yeah.
Excuse me?
This is a long story.
Yeah, but for this particular for your work,
sleep technology, yeah.
Because I think she studied sports science.
Originally.
Oh,
so I have
okay.
a background in
Sports science.
yeah, and
Oh, well, it's still in the
physiology and anatomy and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
So-
I was actually no idea what
I
I was
was
going to say. I was
also
like,
nowhere near that.
Still in the vibe. Still in the human jaw.
Yeah, but what do you call the other sort of degree or diploma?
Yeah, so
become a sleep
like
technician?
I said earlier on, there's a number of routes to take.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone's listening to this and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't sleep well, I'm freaking out, I'm exhausted in the morning. What do? Do they Google Fourie and Associates,
Yeah.
send you a mail, they give you a call and say hi?
All our contact details are on we have a Facebook page as well, which is awesome, and all the deets are on there.
Fourie and Associates.
Facebook page.
And do you like to do a
And then-
consultation first?
No,
Or do you just
no.
pitch up with
So,
your blankie?
you'll contact us, and then our girl that does all our bookings and authorizations and things, she'll send info sheets through to you. You
Right.
fill in a couple of things. She'll get the process rolling, get authorization from your medical aid, and then book you in to come.
So you go
sleep.
straight to the sleep clinic. There's no meet or greet first.
No, you go straight. Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
sleep.
get to business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that.
let's get down.
Maybe we can so this is now we are creating awareness, putting it out there. People can do it.
Yes.
Maybe Neil and I, hopefully, we'll grow this podcast to like 1 million listeners or 10 million listeners, and then we can come and check out. We can come and actually do the sleep. Then we have a follow-up session where we can report on. You can come and read us the data on the podcast, and we can analyze.
Well, depending on how much time you've got, I can maybe just take a nap now, and then you can monitor me live
with live commentary,
and you can then comment on my sleeping patterns.
Maybe like no.
What is
Listen, mensen must sleep like a baby. Most of them is all right, but babies don't sleep well.
Babies
Well,
don't sleep very well.
depends.
Eh?
It depends. You've
Sleep
got a
like a
baby,
baby.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she sleeps. She wakes up every 3 hours. It's actually quite systematic.
Yeah, it's
So she wakes up
But I
every 3
mean,
hours.
it's because of feeding and that.
Yes,
kind of
exactly.
stuff as
Yeah.
well.
How's
But-
that? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, my sleep is in line with hers.
And, yeah.
So you wake up every 3 hours,
Yeah.
and then can you fall asleep easily?
Yeah, look, you can. It's uncomfortable when I'm feeding.
Do you feed with a? Do you feed like you use bottle? And,
Yeah. I got milk.
Dude, I can't believe you're dad.
Yeah, it's great. No, my wife feeds, but I sort of wake up lying next to her. So
Yeah,
I do. I'm a
no,
light
my
sleeper,
brother's
yeah.
the same. He's got a 4-month-old now. So
Yeah.
he
Sure.
also
Is he also in the sleep business?
No, he isn't. He's the one that strayed from. I'm actually the black sheep in the family, but he's the one that strayed
From the family business.
from business. Yeah.
I want to make
Okay.
such bad puns. I actually
Yeah.
can't deal with that.
we can deal with
I
that.
So,
like bad
I
puns.
wanted
I
to
do
be
them all
woke
the
in
time.
there somehow, but it just wouldn't have made sense.
Mm.
Newsflash. Listen.
There was one thing I still wanted to say. Oh yes, but you said you don't have any baby patients.
So we don't particularly focus on infants, no. We do children. We've done children a few here and there.
Help between you know.
But that's quite.
No,
that's
I
quite
think
amazing
the youngest child we've done has been about 10 years old,
Okay.
and this child did have sleep apnea. It was an overweight
What?
child. Yeah. This is serious stuff, eh?
Oh my word! At that age.
Yeah, so I mean,
Sure.
which really actually drives me mad, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of engines revving now.
Yeah. But you're allowed to raise your opinion. obviously.
Yeah. I mean, having an obese child, it's frightening.
Yeah.
And seeing that they have serious and severe sleep apnea, and it affects their whole life.
Yeah.
This child falls asleep. They can't learn properly. They can't study properly, and this is completely weight related. So that's the youngest child we've seen. We don't really do infants. We have the sleep business has quite a nice little network, and it's not very huge. So there's not a lot of competition within the sleep industry.
Yes.
So people work together quite a lot, which is very nice. So you do cross-referring, and if something is not your speciality, then you refer it back to someone that you know who is in that field. So we work very close to another clinical technology practice, and they specifically specialize in infants. So we will send those patients there. I mean, we have your best interests at heart. We're not trying to make money.
No, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So infant care is pretty interesting to me now, because I was just thinking, how does one say if there is a disorder? What does one do with the baby? You can't put a little Darth Vader mask on a baby, or can you?
Well,
it won't be apnea in a baby, obviously. It will be something different.
not necessarily, but they do have things. Actually, a friend once reached out to me with her child that was stopping breathing, but I think there's a number of things you need to go through, but you do need to do possibly a sleep test and just see what's going on there.
If I understand I completely understand. I think I might be repeating myself, but I completely understand the thing that you are monitored during the night when you sleep at the sleep clinic. And then there's a certain amount of data. But if someone suffers from insomnia, do you also help those people and tell them, and they come for a night rest, and you give them advice on how to get better?
So once again, we also do a referral thing.
Yes.
And insomnia is in my opinion, once again, a completely different thing. There are definitely people that suffer from real insomnia, but it's got a lot to do. Often it has a lot to do with your sleep hygiene, which I explained earlier on, the whole thing with bad sleeping habits. And if you work on that, so for me, I'm like, if you put in that work, and after 63 days of putting in the work, of doing all those things that you're supposed to do, and eliminating what you're not supposed to do,
insomnia might be better.
then if you still have insomnia, yes.
Yeah, then you've got a different issue, yeah.
Okay. Then it's like either it's psychological
It
or
might be anxiety or something keep you
yeah,
awake.
or neurological or whatever. But there is and we have practitioners that we know, that we also refer people to, cognitive behavior therapy. Usually if insomnia patients go see those guys, they can get to the bottom of why you're actually not sleeping.
But that's psychology, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So that's often got to do with that, and it's not really physical, yeah.
Ek het nog iets gevra het.
Well, that's actually very interesting, because people love to claim in this day and age, they love to say, I've got insomnia. And
but it's
can't
like, I mean,
sleep,
it's
and-
like the guy, and I will go through, like I'll ask patients questions and say, are you doing this? What do you do, before you go to bed, etc., etc., etc. And like that guy, the patient that had the 2-liter Coke next to his bed, do you have insomnia? Are you for real? So you're drinking 5 bottles of wine before you go to bed. Do you have insomnia?
Yeah,
I mean,
5 bottles of wine
this
before
is
you go
no
to bed is
judgment. It's just like,
It is what it is.
if you want,
yes.
if you want
Yes,
it,
I understand.
like,
Look
it's
at the root.
realistic.
Look at
Come
the
on,
root cause. I've got a friend, I won't mention his name, he's a very good friend of mine. I think it's prescribed. I think it's like prescribed by a doctor. I think he takes a form of a sleeping pill every night. He can't. I think he's like afraid to fall asleep or something. But do you think in certain dosages maybe it's fine, or do you think? I suppose there's always a risk, because it's like, can you get addicted and then drink sleeping pills to get high?
Also,
but I mean,
cheapers. Like I said, I mean, sleeping pills has its place, but
yeah, but you should just. I suppose everything has its place.
yeah,
It's just using
But
it as
It is addictive, right?
responsibly as
they
possible.
can be.
Yeah.
They can be. Yeah, and
That's quite
for
scary.
me, if you're on sleeping pills for years and years and years and years, I don't know, there's some other issue,
Yeah.
and you need to get down to that.
Yeah.
So it's not like, well, some people are antidepressants for their life, and that's fine because it's made in a certain way. Sleeping pills maybe have it. Because sleeping pills.
I think that's a little bit different. When
No,
it
that's what
comes-
I'm saying.
yeah.
Because maybe an antidepressant is
Because
Mon-
that is really that's scientific. And
Yes.
it's like your body is not producing enough dopamine.
exactly,
or,
and sorry to interrupt you, but to add to what you're saying, maybe like an antidepressant actually balances things out, whereas sleeping pill actually enhances something very specific.
yeah,
So
and
it's
your
almost like
body
a
does
boost.
get used to that stuff. Remember as well. So eventually,
It's going to want
often
it.
that too, or you just it won't work
Tolerance.
anymore. So you take
Oh,
it just
right,
because
yeah.
That's
That's what
like
you do now.
it makes you sleep half of the night, but so. And they're doing a lot of neuroscience work now, where all of this kind of stuff, you can retrain your brain. Like you said in the beginning of the podcast, that your brain is so powerful.
Yes.
And if people just start up, it's once again, it's work though. People aren't willing to do the work. So once again, like, your brain is so powerful, and you can retrain neurotransmitters and things,
Yes.
and restructure things.
Chemical pathways.
I've been reading up a lot about that stuff in anything in your life. So that's a really interesting route to follow, you know.
But it seems like you've got all the answers in a sense. Like just listening to you now, it seems you give that impression that if you come to our clinic, we'll get to the bottom of it, which is comforting.
Yeah, we'd like to help you.
Yeah.
Get to the bottom of your situation.
Yeah. Has it happened that things can't be cured, or
well,
is it
from
possible?
our side, but yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, we don't have the answers to everything, but there is always a route to go. I feel like there's always someone that we can refer you to if we can't help the situation. Yeah, definitely.
And it's obviously a privatized organization. Oh yeah, it's owned by your father, started by your father. But you know,
no, I think that's probably it. We've almost gone an hour and 20 minutes, which is a long time. Just lastly to finish off, so Google Fourie and Associates.
Yeah, www.sleepdisorders.co.za.
Okay, well that's very simple. All right.
Yeah.
Sleep disorders.
And then Fourie and Associates Facebook page.
Is it Fourie and like A?
Squiggly and
Yeah, squiggly and.
Does squiggly mean this thing?
Yes.
Squiggly means that jaw.
Squiggly and
Squiggly and. Squiggly and. Listen, I still wanted to ask something, but I can't remember what it was. It was something very, very powerful.
I do want to say one more thing.
Yes.
Is that often with sleep disorders, the first thing that you need to eliminate is sleep apnea, because it's a lot of other sleep disorders is as gevolg van slaap
flows
apnea.
from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it the first thing so we always test, the number one thing we test with any suspected sleep disorder is sleep apnea, because there's so many things that derive from that.
So if people realize their partners have weird stuff going on at night, or I think our Labrador has rest his legs at home when I sleep and take a nap. We've got the shaky leg. Our Labrador, chocolate Labrador.
Yeah, he just gets into REM nicely.
Is it?
Yeah.
She literally likes like 2 minutes, and she snores. She was an infant. She snores, and she's got like a freaky, and then she starts chasing things. She's beautiful, beautiful little witness. Anyway, what was I going to say now? I don't know, but like awesome. Basically, just awesome. All around awesomeness.
Oh, that was amazing.
That's what I wanted to ask. If someone witnesses their partner having sleep apnea, or if they feel chronically exhausted when they wake up, they can contact you, and you guys can help them out, figure something out. Maybe you refer them to a specialist or whatever, but you guys can start there.
Yeah, start with us. The info sheets that you get have some questionnaires and things.
Yes.
You can fill in some.
So you'll then say in your questionnaire, can you bring someone? Obviously, you can. Can you phone as a spouse and say, I want to bring my husband?
Absolutely, that's
probably what
often
happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, often. I'm not targeting males now, but they are stubborn and they don't want to do these procedures. But then the wife is like, "You're going to the sleep clinic now. I'm tired of this."
Ja. Ons was een keer op 'n trip saam geweest, and then my dad, because one of my dad's friends was like a super snorer, like so hardcore, and then what he did was brilliant. He tied a tennis ball to the back of his back. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Like if you take a shirt and then you tie. Then they're never on your back because there's a tennis ball there.
Because it can be positional as well, hey? Snoring. Yeah.
So on the back
so we do monitor your position to see if, because some people have positional sleep apnea. Just saying. So it's only on
certain positions.
Yeah.
Wow.
So often the snoring and it's often on your back. It makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, but
all right. So nice
so you would fill in this form for yourself or on someone's behalf. You would say my husband is snoring or levitating, whatever.
You do also get you get a what do you call it, Epworth scale. You can look it up online, Or we can send it through
I'm still stuck on that. You can keep on talking. Yeah.
What, the levitating?
This is such,
No, you haven't had that before. People levitating in their sleep. Like,
Thank goodness, no.
yes. Because that's
No.
also, I would think, a different
Because then I'm
story.
like, then I'm going to have to bring the pastor in.
yeah, that's proper exorcism vibes, right?
Yeah, I mean,
All right. Do you want to give a phone number, or can they just Google that? Or
I can Google. All the
Okay.
info is on
Do you
sleepdisorders.co.za.
want to give a shout out?
shout out to your patients?
yeah, just maybe some shout outs.
How are you sleeping?
Yeah, for sure.
Some
Like,
shout outs to James.
Imagine we've got one of your ex-patients listening to this and going, "That's amazing. She helped me."
they
Yeah,
do
of course.
love me, by the way.
I-
Like,
I-
my
I can
patients
imagine.
do.
So you have a
Yeah.
Facebook page.
Excuse me?
You have a Facebook page.
Yeah, the
We can
business.
share this and
Yeah.
then I'll share it to you, and then it's just like,
Do I have a personal Facebook page?
no,
Yeah,
your
it's
sleep
business.
the business.
Yes,
Yeah.
Fourie and Associates.
Yes,
Fourie
we're
with
gonna,
a
we're gonna
squiggy.
send that shit. This thing's gonna go viral.
Yes.
People are gonna be like,
Yeah.
this shit's this podcast dream.
But it is
Podcast
useful
dream.
for. I mean, it was very useful for me to learn all this stuff, and especially
Yeah.
with people who generally don't know, because this is not a common thing. I mean, apart from your doctor knowing about it and referring you to your
Yeah.
outfit, you.
So I
won't know
think
about
it's amazing that the awareness is being created. This,
Yes.
And this is awesome.
Yeah.
That this kind of awareness is being created, because if you actually start speaking to people don't talk about it. It's
Yeah.
a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's
It-
like a lot of other medical
Yeah,
things.
it-
People don't talk about it.
It feels to me
Intimate.
like this is sort of the depression and anxiety of 10 years ago.
Yes.
Like no one spoke about it.
Yeah,
But
for
everyone was
sure.
sort of suffering from it.
Absolutely.
And now it's sort of people start feeling
So
more
I'm
comfortable.
loving the awareness being
Yeah.
created.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Well,
for
that's,
sure.
that's fantastic.
Jessica,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
for
It's
doing
been
this
amazing.
The second
yeah.
time.
Thank you for doing this.
Was
the
the
second
first
time.
one better, or was this one better?
No, this one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like the first time was like
Do you think so?
pretty awesome.
That makes
yeah.
Okay.
me feel very good.
I
I wasn't here the first
I
time.
don't
It
know.
makes me
I
very
was-
flattered.
I was funnier the first time. I had more energy.
Really? No,
No.
but you know what? You're very centered. This time,
Yes.
I think people are going to respect you, and your voice carries legitimacy because you're very
It
centered.
does, yeah.
And maybe previous time, I listened, you were all over the place. I'm joking. I'm joking. No, this is brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Thank
I'm
you
so
very
glad
much,
to have an
Jessica.
actual technician. I'm using the word
Yes.
expert now as a layman, like from a outside perspective. Like,
Somebody that's experienced in the sleep field.
yes, exactly. But also for
Highly
our podcast,
experienced.
just not like we're buffeting our repertoire.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah, no, we're moving up, definitely.
We're definitely moving up. Dreamy, guys.
Yes, dreamy. Thank you very much, Jessica. Appreciate it.
Maybe
Sleep
you
tight.
put sleep tight. What a
Yeah.
beautiful ending. May you make millions and make people, put them to rest
Yes.
in a beautiful way.
Heal people. Thanks, everyone. See you. What do we do next week? In 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just before we all take the eternal sleep. All right.
Exactly. Cheers.